Money isn't real. Doesn't matter. It only seems like it does.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Ruckus with Alex Himes, and today I'm very happy to have another guy in the house to cause a ruckus with me. This is Canada's own, straight out of the six, the Waterboy Report with Luca Rosano. How you doing, Luca?
What's going on, man? What's going on? Thank you so much for having me on the show. And yeah, I think it's time to cause a ruckus up in here.
Hey, let's get started right. Before we go on, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to check out the man's social channels. He's constantly putting out great content. That is at the Waterboy Report on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And on Twitter, the man gets a little more special, and that is at Waterboy Report. Woo! He's got a fancy name. This man is a content creator for NBL Canada, the National Basketball League out in the six. He's the host of the Waterboy Report. And yes, this man makes his waves on social media. Come on, this is the same dude that took down Stephen A. Smith on First Take Your Take. I gotta say, it was nice watching someone take down Stephen A. for once in a while. Although, I will admit, it was also kind of funny when you started to give your point, and then he said, immediately after you gave your views on LeBron, it's like, oh, you've already lost this argument before you even got started.
Yeah, that was the best part of it. That was so funny. I'm just like, wow, this guy is truly how he is on TV in real life.
Yep, it's like the most authentic stuff. You hear about living your best life and most authentic life on social media. Stephen A. is the walking example of that.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, so Luca, my guy, you ended up on First Take Your Take with Stephen A. Smith. And before we get into the specifics of what you debated, what was your biggest takeaway from that interview?
Just on a personal level, man, definitely the biggest accomplishment of my young journalistic life. You know, you grow up watching a guy like Stephen A. Smith, and for me, being here in Canada, not necessarily having ESPN on cable, I would still go out of my way to watch Stephen A., listen to his takes. And growing up a Raptors fan, he was always synonymous, of course, with the NBA. And I'll never forget when he absolutely bashed the Raptors when they made that horrible trade, when they traded away Vince Carter virtually for nothing. And I quote, those were his words. So just always seeing him do big things and follow and cover the league that I absolutely love in the NBA. It was honestly a dream come true, man, to go toe-to-toe with the industry's best and talk something that we both share a huge passion for, and that's basketball. So definitely ranks up there on my greatest accomplishments of all time.
Okay, before I get into that specific, I have another quick question for you. You like First Take Stephen A. Skip Bayless, or First Take Max Kellerman and and Stephen A. Smith? Molly Karam is perfect wherever she is, so we got to stick to those two.
Oh, I don't think it's even a question, man. By far, Stephen A. and Skip, man. What they did, like, no disrespect to Max, I love Max Kellerman, but what Stephen A. and Skip did for that program, it's never going to be duplicated. And I think they complemented each other so well.
I agree. I miss watching Skip Bayless show up in a Dallas Cowboys jersey whenever they would do something remarkable or the playoff time came. And I also miss him talking greatly about Tom Brady as opposed to Max Kellerman, who, is a New York fan, of course, and doesn't have the kindest of words for him. He is a bum in short order. Oh, wait, that's right. Brady's won 2 rings since then. I'm okay with that, though.
He shut him up, that's for sure.
Yeah, the old man did it. All right, so getting back to your interview. So you mentioned and made a case for LeBron should have stayed in Cleveland. Free agency came. We know what happened. He went to La La Land where the Lakers now stink. They're not in the playoffs. They're not even the best team in Los Angeles. LeBron's focus is on Blaze Pizza, the shop, and also his other business ventures such as Space Jam 2. So, after seeing what you've seen this season, where you see Cleveland, where you see the Lakers, where you see the Western and Eastern conferences, do you think LeBron should have stayed with the Cavaliers?
100%, man. I am doubly down on my argument. I think this year actually validates my argument even more as to why he should have stayed, because I get it for after basketball purposes. It makes more sense for him to go to LA, which he did, to obviously dive into the business world. He's going to be the star of Space Jam 2. branding purposes, it makes complete sense. But LeBron James, I mean, isn't this the same dude that we talked about chasing Michael Jordan for being the GOAT in the sport? His career's not done. He's far from over. He's 34 years old, yes, but he is still putting up great numbers on the court. So for him now to possibly risk his end of the end of his career being a disaster, I think that's going to be very detrimental to his entire career. I mean, if he stayed in Cleveland, I honestly believe they would have at least made it to the playoffs, unlike the Lakers. And I honestly think they would have competed to make it to the NBA Finals just because of the psychological advantage LeBron had over that conference. He obviously had the chemistry with that Cavaliers team for as bad as they were. And I still believe the Cavaliers probably would have went out to get somebody to help LeBron after they got swept in the NBA Finals. So I think beyond basketball purposes, yeah, he would go there again if he had to. But in terms of his playing career, he's still got a couple years left in the tank. I mean, this can be a bad look for him entirely because you talk about the disaster of a season this year. There's a possibility that it can get worse because let's just say the Lakers strike out this summer. They don't bring in a big name. And all of a sudden, LeBron James has to carry this team on his own again. They miss the playoffs again. Then the heat just continues to get hotter and hotter in LA. And you're in the area. You were telling me before we got on air that the Laker faithful has already turned their back on LeBron. So imagine if this exact mess happens next season and they don't get that much better and they miss the playoffs again. I mean, they're not even the best team in LA, and that says a lot. So the King is under pressure. Management is under pressure. If the Lakers don't strike big and get a big-time player to play alongside LeBron next season, I mean, this thing can absolutely implode to a million pieces right before our eyes.
I agree. I agree with everything you said. You know, the Lakers have not – we went into this season – I think this is a collective understanding. Because the Lakers didn't land Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, or make any other big trades, and that whole Anthony Davis fiasco just went down the pooper, we all thought that this season was a wash for the Lakers. It was LeBron's first year in the West, first year on the Lakers, first year with all the young guys, first year under Luke Walton. Luke Walton was doing well with all these young guys, bringing them up every year, getting better and better. But now that LeBron's on the premises, it's now a win-now mentality as opposed to building upon building each year as they've done prior. Now, the pressure's on Magic. The pressure's on Rob Pelinka. They didn't land the guys that they were attempting to land. They didn't get those guys that were supposedly linked to the Lakers. Paul George was linked to coming home, playing for the team that he grew up watching and rooting for out of Palmdale. And yet, what did he do? The minute free agency came, he signed the deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder at a party with his best buddy Westbrook. Kawhi, that whole trade potentially occurring with the Spurs and the Lakers, never developed. It never actually came to fruition. And what happened? The Lakers missed out. And the Raptors managed to net the guy who, by all intents and purposes, in my opinion, is the second best player when fully healthy in the NBA, solely because he is the best two-way player in the NBA, although this season Paul George is giving him a run for his money and Kawhi hasn't been fully healthy. You know, the Lakers really need to net someone this summer. And by someone, it can't be a guy like Draymond Green, who's now linked to Clutch Sports, you know. So that whole fiasco is going to lead to something. And although Draymond would be a great addition, they need to land an all-star, a solidified player that puts fear into the eyes of these other teams. LeBron joined a conference where you have teams 1 through 8 stacked, right? You have the Spurs, you have the Clippers, you have the Thunder, you have the Lakers, not the Lakers, you have the Rockets, you have, who else do they have? They have the Nuggets this year who have been great. It's just one of these situations where everyone else he's now playing against is actually a playoff-worthy team. And the Lakers, although they signed the biggest free agent and got what they needed for the first time in years, they're still not making the playoffs with a LeBron James team. The guy is hunting his numbers. He's getting 27, 8, and 7 this season, which is not too shabby for a guy who's been out with a groin injury. But this is a guy who's got the worst career injury he's ever had at the latest point in his career. So as much as the Lakers desperately need to get someone this offseason, they also need to sit down and have a conversation with their star players saying, hey, look, although you are still one of the best in the world, it's time for you to consider being a 1A, 1B situation as opposed to a 1 and then 2 and then 3 in terms of hierarchy on the team. And I don't know if that will happen. I don't know if LeBron's willing to give that up. Do you think LeBron would be okay switching the roles and the mentality that he's exuded for years after year after year of being the top dog?
I don't think so. I think we're talking about LeBron James. He's obviously got his ego. He's got his agenda. And I think that's the reason why a lot of these superstars have openly stated that they don't even want to play with LeBron. I mean, KD has made reference to it in the past. Kawhi Leonard, I know not him personally, but his uncle, who's his agent, has said that Kawhi's not going there. If he goes to LA, it's going to be for the Clippers. A lot of these superstars don't want to team up with LeBron because of the media attention he brings and the baggage that he brings as well. Like we saw the frustration grow with Kyrie Irving in Cleveland, which is the reason why he wanted out. So it's going to be interesting to see who the Lakers can go and get, who are going to be willing to pair off with the King and play with LeBron in such a big sector of the world in LA. We're not talking about Cleveland anymore. We're talking about LA. Like this is the granddaddy of the universe, and the spotlight's always on, the media attention's always there. So they got to get someone, man, because this thing, like I said, can just go explode on the entire Lakers team. If, let's just say, this season goes by, they get nobody, and then that's another year wasted of LeBron James, and he's not going to get any younger. And then all of a sudden, you're in 2020, and then is AD really going to want to go play with LeBron then when he's that much older and the Lakers are still a mess? So it just changes everything. If they aren't going to get a superstar this summer, you at least got to go get a guy like a Kemba Walker or even a Jimmy Butler, who I think is not a superstar anymore, but he's an all-star, the same with Kemba. But you definitely got to make something happen. There's no way you can afford to carry the same roster into next season and expect a different result.
Okay, then let me ask you this. Do you think the Lakers land one big free agent with the amount of money they have this summer?
And so who would that include? Like a KD, Kawhi type of player? Or
it could be anyone that you want.
So I think realistically, the most, like the thing that I can see happening the most is Jimmy Butler going there. I would say it would be Jimmy Butler out of all the players that are going to be free agents this summer. I don't think KD is going to go. I don't think Kawhi is going to go. If it's not going to be Butler, more of a long shot, and I've kind of been openly stating this on my programs, my shows, is Kyrie Irving. If Kyrie does leave Boston, I can honestly see him reunite with the King. I know they kind of, made amends. You read into all that stuff. They met up at a pizza shop, or Kyrie called him when he was at the pizza shop. So I can see that happening. That's the best case scenario for Lakers fans. But more realistically, I think they're going to get like a Jimmy Butler and Kemba Walker. I don't think they're going to necessarily get a big time star.
I'm going to put it to you this way. Kyrie Irving is not joining the Los Angeles Lakers. He is not.
I knew you were going to have something to say about that. That's just a gut feeling I got.
The only player to have ever worn a Celtic uniform and then don the purple and gold that really has no issue doing it is the man whose jersey is up there on my wall right now, and that is Rajon Rondo. You've not heard any Celtic fan get mad at him wearing the purple and gold. And if Kyrie leaves, I think it would be to New York. Do I think it happens? No. I think Kyrie stays where the money is, best chance to win in the conference, and potentially KD joins him. But that's just my crazy take. We're in the dog pound causing an issue right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ruckus with Alex Himes. Thank you again for tuning in. This is my guy from the 6, Luca Rosano. The man is in the house, and we are talking about life, love, and how the Lakers suck this year. So, my friend, we got to talk about your guys up in the north. Do you think your Raptors are a legitimate threat for a postseason run and potentially a finals appearance?
Yeah, I think they're a legitimate threat. They got the team to do it. Obviously, getting a guy like Gasol, who hasn't been playing great lately, is going to be an added bonus come the postseason. We got enough size. We got enough defense. We got enough offensive power to compete with just about anybody in the conference. But the thing that's kind of concerning to me is just the team's chemistry. We've had a couple of injuries of late. A guy like Fred VanVleet, who was a huge catalyst of our bench, he's missed some time. He missed a couple of weeks. He returned the other day. So I just want to see the chemistry get stronger, and I want to see the Raptors just have a little bit more fight in them, because lately it just seems to me that they've been coasting because they pretty much are locked in that number 2 seed. They're probably not going to catch the Bucks at this point in the season, so they're content with being the 2 seed, and they just got their sights set on the playoffs as they should. But at the same time, I want to see them take these games just a little bit more seriously, and I want the team to get into rhythm right before the big dance. Now, to answer your question, I believe the Raptors can get to an NBA Finals. And the biggest threat to them, I think it's ultimately going to be the Boston Celtics. I'm not too concerned about the Sixers because we have had their number of late. But I will say, with Embiid looking healthy now, you definitely can't sleep on the Sixers. But I still like our chances in a best-of-7 against them. The Bucks, they are a very compelling and interesting team to me, because for as much as I do want to give them credit, they still got to win a playoff series. They still got to get that monkey off their back. They haven't won a playoff series since 2001. So until that happens, I got to see that happening before I give them any credit. And at the same time, they're not going to have the same type of experience as the Bostons and the Torontos of the world. So I think it's going to ultimately come down to the Celtics or the Raptors representing the East. And I know I've been saying it, since the beginning of the season, and I got to rep my team as you're going to rep yours. I'm going to have the Raptors beating Golden State in the final. And that's been my prediction since day one, or since we acquired Kawhi, to be honest with you.
I think that, I respectfully understand that if it's a regular season game, the Raptors beat the Golden State Warriors. And when it comes to the playoff time, I'll be happy to send you a Celtics jersey when the Celtics play the Warriors in the finals and they win in 6 games.
We should do a little bit of a bet.
All right, let's do it right here, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ruckus's bet with the Waterboy Reports own Luca Rosano. What's the bet, Luca?
Okay, so why don't we do this? If the Raptors make it, I got to send you a Kawhi Leonard jersey, and if the Celtics make it, you got to send me a Celtics jersey to wear. We could do it like that, or if you don't want to do a jersey, we can do something else. It's totally up to you.
How about this? Let's one-up it. If the Celtics make it to the finals, you have to come out to Los Angeles and watch a finals game here in LA wearing a Celtics jersey. And if the Raptors make it to the finals, I have to go to the 6, which I've never been to. I've always wanted to go to Toronto. I've always wanted to go to Canada, period, and watch a game there wearing a Raptors jersey.
Ooh, you one-upped it, all right. So we got to go in each other's territory. You know what? I like it, man. For the sake of entertaining programming, let's do it. Let's do it. And then if neither of them make it, we'll both look like idiots and we'll both stay put.
If neither of them make it, we got to wear something even more ridiculous. We got to wear like a Cleveland LeBron jersey or like something. No, the worst player on the roster that is less favored to win the finals. So if Golden State makes it and the Bucks make it, we have to wear a Malcolm Brogdon jersey.
We'll see what happens, but we'll keep the original bet for now, where whoever wins, we got to go visit the other in their respective city.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. The bet. Luca Rosano of the Waterboy Report and Alex Himes of the Ruckus. Myself. Yes, I just referred to myself in third person, but it's okay because we have a bet going. If the Boston Celtics make it to the finals, Luca has to make his way down to my hood in Los Angeles. Yes, I know. I'm not in Boston, but boy, I was raised a Celtics fan and I rep it hard. And he has to watch a game out here with a Celtics jersey on, and I can supply him a lot of good ones. I got the Pierce, I got the Ray, I got the Rondo, I got the Jay Crowder, I got the Isaiah Thomas, I got the Kyrie jersey. I am ready to go. And if his Raptors somehow manage to beat my Celtics in the playoffs, I am heading to the 6. Shout out to Drake. I'm going to go watch a game out there wearing a Raptors jersey. It's on. It's on like Donkey Kong, Luca.
Here we go.
All right, and then to finish this up, I got to ask one major question. Since we're talking about your Raptors, we're talking about the 6, we're talking about Drake's hood, your hood, does Kawhi Leonard stay in that hood, or does he dip for greener pastures in a sunnier area like Los Angeles?
I think it's going to come down to the Raptors or the Clippers. I don't think if he leaves the Raptors, he's going to go to the Lakers. I don't think he'll go to the Knicks. I think it's going to come down to the Raptors or the Clippers. And that's going to be dependent on whether or not the Raptors make the finals. I think that's going to be very, very crucial in determining his decision, because if Kawhi Leonard gets the final and he realizes, hey, this is not too bad, consistently getting there with this team, then I think he's going to make the right decision for his basketball career. And, he's still relatively young. He wants to win championships. He'll stay with the Raptors. But if the Raptors have an early exit, don't look good in the playoffs, and Kawhi Leonard wants to go back home and play for the team that's going to be competing against the Lakers for city supremacy, then I can see him go to the Clippers. But the Raptors definitely need to make the final to have a better shot at landing Kawhi if they don't.
I think it's all dependent upon Siakam. Siakam, honestly, to me, is the most improved player this year.
Oh, hands down. Yeah,
and if Siakam balls out in the playoffs, Van Fleet's healthy, Lowry's looking good, Danny's healthy, playing well. They got Marc Gasol playing an integral role. Serge Ibaka comes back. We get old Serge, the surge protector from OKC. I think Toronto looks good. Under Nurse, this is a flourishing system. And yes, they're second in the East, but that's to the Bucks, who've had an unreal season spearheaded by a guy who is named the Greek Freak for a reason. So I think you're right. I think that if the Raptors make it to the finals, period, Kawhi stays. If they lose, he stays, period. But if the Raptors don't even make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that Kawhi leaves for greener pastures in Los Angeles, where they could potentially sign another player on top of having a team that, although is without Tobias Harris and Boban, and really without an all-star, they're in the playoffs over the Lakers.
Yeah, that's an interesting team right now. You had a guy like Kawhi Leonard on the Clippers. That's a very intriguing team for next year.
You add Kawhi, you add someone else, they're immediately a Western Conference team. Western Conference Finals team, I should say.
Well, yeah, look what they're doing without a true star. They literally don't have an all-star on that team. It's just a bunch of guys who know their role. I would even go as far as saying, even if Kawhi went over there with that team, that team would remind me of a Nuggets of this season, where they would jump onto the scene, be a third, second place team, and potentially compete for a conference finals. I'm not saying NBA finals, but conference finals most definitely, if you had a guy like Kawhi.
Yeah. This team, before I get into the last thing, this team reminds me of the Atlanta Hawks from the 2000s. That Joe Johnson, Marvin Williams, Mike Bibby, Mike Woodson-led team from way back when. The perpetual second-round exit team. But for the last question of the day, I got to go to something a little bit funnier. We talked about it before the show started, and this is by far my favorite show to watch when I really have nothing else to do and I just want to watch something super hilarious, and that is straight from Canada, the finest show to ever hit television and also to be picked up by Netflix. Have you ever watched Trailer Park Boys?
So how about this? So I didn't want to spoil my answer, obviously off air. Would you think of me any less if I told you that I obviously know of the show, but I don't watch it?
I would not, because I get it. I'm from LA. Do I watch Beverly Hills Housewives? No. Do I watch 90210? No. I get it. You live it.
But it's definitely, hey, the show must be doing something right if it's got a guy like you in LA watching. But does it necessarily depict Canadians? No.
No, definitely not. Let's make it very clear, people. It does not depict Canadians or Canadian life in any way, shape, or form.
Let's put that out there.
But I have to say, that is definitely my favorite show right now on television and on streaming services. Whenever I have free time, I have to watch it. And, all right, if there's anything that you should watch, there's the episode which was the season finale before they got picked up by Netflix, where they're doing a drug smuggling deal, and they're doing it by using a model train to smuggle drugs in from Canada to the United States. They're literally using a model train to smuggle drugs into the States.
Oh,
and
my goodness.
The end of the episode is them caught in the river between the States and Canada, and they have to choose between being arrested by the FBI and ATF on the U.S. soil versus Canadian police or the, the Forest Park Rangers for doing X amount of crimes. And they're literally negotiating, what can you give us? It'll be 6 months. It'll be a year. Oh, it's drug smuggling. It's beaver harm because they were wrestling with dams. Like, that is one of the best scenes in the... I'm sorry. I'm, like, describing it, and I know I'm clearly not funny trying to describe it because you have to watch it. So if you get a chance, guys, go watch Trailer Park Boys or search up that episode online. And if you ever make it out here... Well, once our bet is complete, when my Celtics make it to the finals and you have to come out here, I guess I can show you the clip then on a real full screen.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, but only if the Celtics make it to the finals. Don't get your hopes up too much, man.
Hey... Just like you said, I'm a homer, but I know what's going on. Trader Danny knows how to put a team together, and although there's been a lot of turmoil, we're being led by Brad Stevens. I will not lose faith in that man.
Yeah, that's literally it, man. You know, I can definitely agree with you on that. Brad Stevens is a mastermind, and as long as you got him on the sideline coaching the team, I would not rule out the possibility of that.
All right, guys, this has been the Ruckus with Alex Himes. We got to give a major shout out and thank you for Luca Rosano from the Waterboy Reports stopping in, causing a ruckus with me on this fine Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon if you are tuning in Canada. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, please give him a like, follow, and check out his great content. You can find it on at the Waterboy Report on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and on Twitter, it's Waterboy Report. Ooh, so fancy. And Luca, thank you again for stopping by, causing a ruckus, and entering the Shadow Realm with me today. Although I do remember when the Fire Nation attacked, we just spit some fire right here and talked real facts. Any last words for the audience?
It was good, man. It was good definitely catching up with you, doing the show. Keep up the great work on your end. And all I can end with is this, man. I cannot wait for the playoffs, and we'll see which one of us is right. But thanks so much for having me, man. Take care.
Thank you for coming on. And by the way, last one bit. I will not mind. I genuinely wouldn't. Although I'm a Celtics homer, I would not mind having an excuse to go check out Canada, period. Because I've never been. I've always wanted. Actually, that's not true. Wait, I've been to Windsor, Canada for a fraternity formal a couple years ago. So I have seen
Windsor, good old Windsor, where there's nothing to do.
Literally, I saw basically 0.2% of Canada people, or 0.02, whatever you want to refer to it. But again, this has been The Ruckus with Alex Himes. Don't forget to check it out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. My Facebook is at Alexander Himes. On Instagram, you can find me at HimesWorld, HYMESWORLD. On YouTube, Alexander Himes. And don't forget to check out all the podcast streaming services where you can check out The Ruckus in its full, in its entirety. Thank you again for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch you next week.
Money isn't real. Doesn't matter. It only seems like it does.